Hey, good morning. It's just barely still morning, I think. Um, this is a first, hopefully of many, podcasts. I've wanted to do this for some time. I put it off for whatever excuses I was using. Mostly it was laziness. And I am now at a point where I've got lots of time and I need to do this. Today is officially the day that I'm trying to retire. It's January 21st today, Tuesday, January 21st. Yesterday was Martin Luther King Day. And I am contacting the Social Security Administration office trying to get my retirement stuff in line. I'm 64 years old. I'll be 65 in June, so about 6 months. I lost my job in November, or at least was told I was not going to be hired or rehired, as the office I was working for was changing hands. And I'll go into that some other time. That's kind of one of the issues I would like to discuss here on the podcast, because I know I'm not the only one that's been pushed into this type of a situation. At any rate, I was 64 years old and I was looking for work. I'm a physician assistant by education and training. I'm at least pretty good at what I do, if I can say that myself. Was looking for work quite aggressively, really, for almost a month and a half. At first, I wasn't worried about it because I have a lot of experience. Like I say, I'm reasonably intelligent and experienced, well studied, but I wasn't finding work, and I know part of that was my age. 64. Who wants to hire a guy that's 64 and get him trained and into a new position, when he might retire in the next year or two? And that's a understandable concern of an employer. I also had some issues, I guess, where I was outspoken and or spoke my mind or my opinion on certain things, and that went on some sort of a permanent record. And anyway, so I determined to go ahead and retire. I'll talk about that later on too, just I'm sure people will be a little bit curious. What I'm doing is I'm starting a podcast for my own purposes, but I think because a lot of people are in my same situation and have the same thoughts, same feelings. They're confused about what's going on in this world, what's actually happening, and that they just want answers. They just, I don't. Things are just not making sense in the world, and I've done, I would say, a considerable amount of study and given it a lot of thought. Sorry, I'm nervous and I'm playing with things here. I've given things a lot of thought, and I want to discuss it. I want people to discuss it with me. I want my mind to be stimulated to try to understand things and figure it out. To figure out what's actually happening in this world. Because I don't feel like we are hearing the truth from almost any sources. And we can discuss other things. I'd like to discuss some medical topics that I think are important. I'm going to try to keep the site non-monetary in a sense. I don't want to have advertisements. I don't want to be coerced or requested to promote products on this podcast. There may be some that I'll discuss, that I'll talk about, that I'll say, hey, I think you should check this out. Whatever it is, for simple products and things. Obviously, I have a passion for music, and particularly for guitars. But anyway, I don't know. I want the opportunity to talk about things. I do have a partner. I have a person that is supposed to be doing this podcast with me. And I hope that individual will see this and reach out to me, and we can figure out how to do this as a split screen podcast. I'll probably post it on YouTube. I'll post it on Facebook for sure. I want my friends and family to see it. I want people to be able to type in notes, how you send messages in on these things. I listen to a few podcasts. I listen to something almost every day in the way of podcasts, and try to make myself a little more intelligent, a little more enlightened, I guess. I feel like this is a good medium for expressing yourself. You can write things down, and writing is great, and I think it's a good tool, a good thing to do for your mind and for yourself. But what you can't do with writing is really feel the individual's emotions that are doing the writing when you're reading something. And I like to hear emotions, and that's why I like podcasts. It's particularly why I like video podcasting. And so this is the medium I'm going to try to use. I'm only doing this on a computer. I've got this MacBook here that I've had for a couple of years. I'm doing this on there. I know it's a little grainy. It's not real clear. I don't have special lighting. I just have a window above me. I do have a fairly decent camera that I'll probably learn how to hook up to the computer. And if it goes far enough, I may even get a light. But geez, I don't know. This looks good enough to me. It's more about what we're saying than it is about the light. I don't know if I'll put music in it or anything. Usually when I turn on a podcast and people have music at the beginning, I skip it because I find it annoying. Anyway, I'll try to be on here weekly. I don't think I'll be on more than that. It's kind of a weird thing. I wanted to do this, and yet at the same time I'm nervous. I'm nervous about talking to this computer like this, and yet, boy, if you sat down with me and asked me a question about something, I'd be all over it, be open, and I would express things that I think are confusing. So anyway, you'll hear more from me. I think when we get the podcast going, I think this individual will contact me and say, let's do it. I'm certainly hopeful. I know that this individual has a lot bottled up inside of them too, and that the person that I want to do this with has done a lot of study and has given it a lot of thought. And I think that's more important than any of the information that I might give you on here, or information that you might hear or read in a podcast or in a book or something like that. It is going to be heavily to do with conspiracy topics, and if you're not interested in that, that's okay. I think if you're not interested in it, you haven't studied it at all. And my advice, my admonishment would be, please study these topics, study them deeply, and try to have an open mind. An open mind is just a way of saying, I might not know. I might be wrong. It's a way of learning. And if you can't have an open mind, you really can't learn. And so just please be open-minded. I don't know anything. I hate that word know anymore. Everybody thinks they know something. And the trouble is, we all seem to know something that contradicts the other. So I now try to avoid that I know term, and I'm sure I'll use it way too much on here anyway. Anyway, I want to talk about stuff. I want you to join in. I want people's input. I want to hear what you've studied, how you feel on certain topics. I want to hear what people have to say. I hope to be discussing a lot of this stuff, a lot of this conspiracy stuff, anything from government to science to the world around us, our education system, our medical system, that I was obviously heavily involved with for years. I'm also going through a transition because I'm decided recently to retire. that's a big decision. I didn't realize how difficult that would be. I looked at it, always in the future, and for the last couple of years, I've said I'm probably going to work until I'm 70, 72 years old because I feel good, I feel healthy, I'm not requiring a lot of medication for anything. I'm in pretty good health, and I just thought, why quit working? And then just recently, I just thought, my gosh, I'm not getting done a lot of the things that I want to do. Those things that you always have that you're going to do someday. I'm not doing any of those. I don't play any of my guitars enough. I don't do this podcasting. I need this outlet to discuss these things, and hopefully you'll use it as an outlet. I would almost like this to be everybody's podcast, where you can come and express things. Obviously, I can't do that because it will become too much of a soapbox or a platform for people to preach their personal doctrine, and I don't want that. I just want it to be an open-minded discussion. So I'll say things that I think are confusing. Some of them are going to insult people. No apologies. If you're insulted, that's an issue that you have to deal with. At first, I'll just post it on Facebook. I'll put it on YouTube. I don't want to monetize it. I don't want to advertise for people, because then you start getting committed to their agenda, and they can kind of control too much of what is said, what is done, what happens on the podcast, and I don't want that. I want it to be an open agenda. So what I'll probably do is I have a little medical company. I've got some back braces that I developed at a time when I was doing spine surgery, and so they're a good. It's a good back brace, and I will probably attach little things in here to encourage people to go to my site to look at my back brace and hopefully buy a couple of them, and I'll use that money to support the podcast, to buy microphones so it's easier to listen to. I'll purchase probably lighting. I already bought some equipment, but very little. I do have a camera over here that I'll try to get hooked up so that it's connected to my computer and will give a better image of my most beautiful face. And I'll try to get better sound. Maybe headphones, microphones. I don't know. I need to look into all this stuff. I don't understand it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to include my partner in this. I don't mean my wife. I mean my podcasting partner. I don't know how to have people call in, how to have them type notes in and ask questions. But I'll figure it out as we go. This is the first one. It's Tuesday, January 21st. I don't know if I've already said that. I probably won't post this on Facebook or YouTube until Sunday. I don't know why. For some reason, I want to start on a Sunday. I will be moving sometime in the next several months to the Philippines. I intend to retire there. I'm not retiring on very much of an income. My Social Security will be a fairly small amount, but in the Philippines I can live comfortably. My wife is from the Philippines, so I think we can move there without too much of a trial. It will be difficult to leave, family and friends here in the United States, and I'll be far away. But through the electronic communications, we can stay in touch. I may have to make trips back. I'm sure I'll have to make trips back actually to the United States, just for my citizenship, for taxes, and to handle issues with my family. So anyway, this will be a short podcast because I'm alone. I don't have my partner here, and I'm hoping when he sees this, he will chime in, and that we can get on here and actually have a discussion. And I'll learn how to talk to the camera. Sorry, I know I keep looking at my own face on the screen, which I think we tend to do that when we make videos like this. And I'll probably mix in some medical advice on here as well. I want it to be an outlet because I have my thoughts on medicine also. have changed over the years, as have my political views, my religious views. I guess I should say I was raised as a Latter-day Saint, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, commonly known as the Mormons. I'm no longer Mormon, and I'm okay with that. I'm not here to bash the Mormon Church, but that is the one I'm the most knowledgeable about, and if questions do come in, I'll answer them openly and honestly. Anyway, join me. Thanks for listening to this little blah, blah, blah. Didn't get a lot said, but that'll change. And we'll have a lot of topics. And if you've got something that you want discussed on here, that you have questions about or passion about or interest in, post it. Send it to me. We'll write it down and we'll discuss it. I've studied, I don't want to brag, I've studied a lot. I've put a lot of time into this conspiracy stuff and deeper stuff that we'll discuss on here as well. Again, I don't know anything. No. Be very careful about using the word no. You can use believe. That's okay, or you have faith in, but I would be cautious with that word no, because I don't think we know anything anymore. It's all up to debate. And hopefully we can progress and get somewhere with this. Anyway. Love you all. Wish me luck. I'll be in touch. Thanks.